Welcome to Duskveil. Tonight, we open the doors to 3 real stories from guests who checked in but never truly left. When I first started the night shift at the Grand Haven Resort, I thought it would be the easiest job I'd ever had. It was a beautiful old seaside hotel, the kind that looked elegant from the outside but creaked like an old ship inside. The chandeliers were always half-lit, the air smelled faintly of salt and polish, and the walls carried whispers from conversations that had long ended. My job was simple: sit behind the front desk, answer calls, and make sure the lobby never looked completely deserted. Most nights, it was just me and the sound of the rain hitting the windows. Sometimes, Louis, the overnight security guard, would stop by for a chat. He was in his late 50s, quiet, polite, the kind of man who never said much but always looked like he knew something he shouldn't. The rest of the time, I was completely alone. The hotel had only 3 floors and a dozen rooms on each. Most guests were business travelers or couples looking for something quiet by the coast. I liked the solitude at first, until one night, around 1:45 a.m., something changed. I was finishing the last of the check-in reports when the monitor flickered. It wasn't unusual. The old system froze sometimes when the Wi-Fi lagged, but when the screen cleared, I noticed something strange. Room 313 occupied. I blinked. That couldn't be right. The Grand Haven only went up to 312. I checked the map, the floor list, everything. No room 313. It didn't exist. I thought it was a database error, maybe a leftover entry from an old guest file, so I deleted it. It came back. I stared at the screen for almost a minute, the words "Room 313" occupied glowing softly in green. At 2:03 a.m., the phone rang. Line 3. The label said Room 313. I hesitated before picking it up. Front desk, this is Claire. For a few seconds, there was nothing, just a faint, static hum, like someone breathing too close to the receiver. And then, a woman's voice. Can you send someone up? The light, it won't stop flickering. Her tone was calm, but there was something off about it, a softness that didn't sound quite right. I asked what room she was calling from, though I already knew. 313, she said, as if she'd said it 100 times before. My throat went dry. Before I could respond, the line went dead. No click, no beep, nothing, just silence. I told myself it was just a prank, maybe some drunk guest playing games, but I couldn't shake the unease crawling under my skin. Finally, I grabbed the spare keyring and headed to the elevator. The 3rd floor was unusually cold, colder than the rest of the hotel. The hallway lights buzzed weakly, and one bulb near the end kept flickering like it couldn't decide whether to die or not. As I walked, the sound of my shoes against the carpet echoed softly, like I was walking inside a tunnel. The numbers on the doors passed by slowly, -309, 310, 311, 312, then nothing. The hallway just ended. There was number 313. But when I stopped and listened, I heard something faint behind the wall. The steady hum of a television, and beneath it, a low, steady humming. A woman's voice, singing something that sounded almost like a lullaby. I turned back to leave, but when I glanced down the hall one last time, there it was, a door, perfectly normal, perfectly new, between 312 and 314, as if it had been there all along. The number plate gleamed under the weak light, 313. My stomach twisted. I reached for the handle. It was cold to the touch. colder than metal should be. I unlocked it, pushed the door open, and stepped inside. The room was spotless, bed made, lamps glowing softly, curtains half open, letting the rainlight flicker across the floor. It looked like any other room, except for the air. It felt thick, heavy, like I'd walked into someone else's breath. On the bed, perfectly centered, lay a single folded note. I hesitated, then picked it up. The handwriting was small and careful, written in blue ink. It said, "Thank you for the stay." I stared at it for what felt like minutes. The paper was damp, like it had been sitting under the rain. When I looked back up, the reflection in the mirror across the room wasn't mine. A woman stood behind me, pale eyes, dark as ash, lips barely moving. I turned. The room was empty. When Louis came in at 6 a.m., I was still behind the desk, pale and shaking. I told him everything, the phone call, the door, the note. He frowned. "There's no room 313, Claire. There never was." He led me upstairs to show me. Between 312 and 314, there was nothing, just the same blank wall. I rushed back to the lobby and opened the registry. The entry for 313 was gone, but on the system log, there was one final checkout recorded, 3:13 a.m. Some guests never leave, and some rooms were never meant to exist. It was almost midnight when I checked into the Crestwood. A passing storm had cut the power lines across the highway, and I'd been driving for nearly 9 hours without rest. The place looked like it had been built decades ago. A faded sign, chipped paint, neon buzzing faintly above the door. The old man at the counter didn't even look up when I came in. He slid a key across the counter and said in a dry voice, "Room 6. Keep your windows closed. The wind carries things." I wanted to laugh, but something in his tone stopped me. I was too tired to argue. I just nodded, grabbed the key, and walked to my room. Room 6 smelled of damp carpet and old cigarettes. The wallpaper was peeling near the ceiling, and the air conditioner hummed a tired rhythm. I threw my bag on the bed, kicked off my shoes, and sat down. Outside, thunder rolled in the distance, followed by the sound of wind brushing against the window. It was quiet, too quiet, until I heard something move above me, slow, steady footsteps, right across the ceiling. I froze. The footsteps didn't sound like someone walking in the room above. They were too slow, too heavy, and perfectly in rhythm. They moved from one corner to another, then stopped right over my bed. I waited, then something dragged. A scraping noise, like furniture being pulled across the floor. But there was no second floor. The Crestwood Inn was one level. I'd seen the roof myself. At exactly 2:14 a.m., there was a knock on my door. 3 slow knocks. I didn't move. Another 3. My heart pounded so loud I thought whoever was outside could hear it. I grabbed the key and looked through the peephole. No one was there. I should have stopped then. I should have locked myself in. But curiosity is a dangerous thing. I opened the door and stepped into the hallway. The lights buzzed overhead, flickering one by one, as if something passed beneath them. The carpet felt damp under my feet, though it hadn't rained inside. At the end of the hallway, a door stood open, room 8. A faint light glowed from inside, like a candle. I peeked inside. The room was empty, except for a single chair placed in the center. On it, a cassette player. It was on, but there was no tape inside. And yet, I could hear it, a faint voice whispering through static. "You shouldn't have opened the door." I stumbled back, my foot catching the edge of the threshold. The light blinked off. When it came back on, the chair was empty. I ran for the exit, keys shaking in my hand. The lobby was empty, but the front door was open. Outside, the neon vacancy sign buzzed faintly, except now, it read, "No vacancy." I jumped into my car and drove off, without looking back. When I reached the main road, I glanced in the rearview mirror. Behind me, the motel was dark. But in the window of room 6, someone was standing there, watching. After everything that happened last winter, the divorce, the stress, the silence, I needed a break. I booked a weekend stay at the Lakeview Resort, a quiet place by a mountain lake 3 hours north. The photos online showed beautiful cabins with fireplaces and floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking still water. When I arrived, it was everything I needed. Calm, empty, too empty, maybe. The woman at the reception smiled politely, but her eyes never met mine. She gave me a key, old-fashioned brass, with the number 7 engraved. She said, "You'll have the best view. Just don't go outside after midnight." I laughed, thinking she was joking, but she didn't. Cabin 7 was perfect, clean, quiet, cozy. There was a big mirror on the wall opposite the bed, framed in dark wood. I unpacked my suitcase, poured a glass of wine, and sat by the window, watching the fog roll across the lake. The reflection in the mirror caught my eye. It showed the room perfectly, except for one thing. The window curtains in the reflection were closed. In the real room, they were open. Around midnight, I heard a knock on the cabin door. It was soft, slow, 3 gentle taps. I hesitated, checked my phone, 12:07 a.m. No one should have been out here this late. I peered through the peephole, nothing. But when I looked at the mirror again, the reflection of the door showed a shadow standing outside. I turned on all the lights. My heart was racing. The mirror was calm again. It looked normal, until I noticed the reflection of myself. She was still, completely still, her head slightly tilted, her lips parted just enough to whisper something I couldn't hear. I took a step back, and she smiled. I ran outside. The air was freezing, and the fog had grown thicker. I could barely see a few meters ahead. The lake was still, too still, and in the center of it, a faint orange glow, like a reflection of fire. But there was no fire. The reflection started to ripple, forming shapes, faces, almost human, pressing against the water's surface from below. And then I saw her, my reflection, standing on the lake, watching me. When I came back inside, the mirror was cracked. Thin lines ran across it like veins. I didn't see my reflection anymore, just the cabin, empty and pale. Then I noticed the curtains in the mirror had opened again. Something was moving behind them. In the morning, the caretaker came to check on me. I told him everything, the mirror, the knock, the reflection on the lake. He frowned. "Ma'am," he said quietly, "cabin 7's been empty since 1998. I turned to look back at the cabin. The door was open, swaying gently in the breeze. Inside, there was no mirror, only a blank wall, covered in fingerprints.
A Duskveil production.
If you enjoy this story, stay with us. There are more nights and more voices waiting to be heard. Subscribe to Duskveil if you dare.